I started working on this loop yesterday, and I think it's a pretty good start for a song, but obviously a 4-bar loop is not a song. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to turn that loop, break it down into a few different sections, and kind of put together the arrangement of the song. And depending on how long that first step takes, I might also do some kind of texturing and smoothing over so that the sections kind of fit together a little bit better. And also, like, as you kind of strip a song down, it opens up space for new things to come in as well. I don't think I'm going to get to that point as much today. It is very messy right now, but here it is. So that is the song currently. So usually when I'm writing a song like this, what I am looking to do is, let me actually stop this out and turn this off. Usually when I write a song using this method of making a small loop and then extending it, what I'm looking to do is actually make the loop as kind of complex as I think the final song is going to be, because I really want to know that, at least in terms of the core elements, I really want to know that all of those pieces work together, so then I can kind of look at it as a puzzle and move them around without having to worry about whether or not it will sound okay. So the first things that you can do that are pretty easy is, depending on how you want to start the song, I actually think I'm going to give this kind of a house style start, where do something like that. So we'll have the kick drum at the beginning, and then the melodics, I know that this sine wave right here and this piano stuff is kind of what the intro is going to be built off of, just from remembering where I was at yesterday. And so I can pretty comfortably delete the first 16 bars of this, because I know it's not going to really be there. No, I definitely don't need the sub bass here. I don't need the mid bass here. Okay, so what if I... Okay, this doesn't need to be here. This doesn't need to be here. Okay, I actually don't think that this intro is going to be... Okay, so the next thing that I know 100% is that this sine wave pattern is not going to be in this next section at all. It's been going since the beginning. I also know that this isn't going to be here. Maybe keep some of the smaller melodics. Probably can keep this section. Next thing that I know is a lot of this stuff is stuff that I don't necessarily want to bring in right away. So now let me move the loop over to here. Other things that I know are not going to be here are, what is this again? No, that's coming in later. That's not going to be anywhere near the first half of the song. This probably can come in later, like the second half there, and then duck that there. No, this can definitely come in later. Okay, so usually just the song started really strong on melodics, and so I kind of want to just drop out a lot of that right now. A couple things that I want to be careful about is I don't want to overdo the melodics, because this section, probably from here to about here, what I want to make sure is that in that section it's going to be much more stripped down. So I want to make sure that there's room for different elements to shine there, and that I haven't overplayed them early. So what that tells me also is that I think at this point all of this needs to go. Like, it can't be really anything that you've heard before. Here I like the idea of this coming in, but it'll probably be faded in. Okay, so I need a gain on here. Okay, and then I'm gonna go here with gain. Okay, where exactly is that? That's right here. Okay. And the reason why I do this using the gain plugin rather than putting the volume automation just on the channel itself is because this allows me to still use the channel without having to worry that there's automation that's overriding. That's basically why I want to do it with a plugin. It's wide open for me to do a lot of stuff in it. Like over here, I don't even know if I'm actually going to keep the strings here. Like, I might just delete them, put a more sound design in this section, or strip it down, whichever way that I want to go. Having 16 bars right here that's fairly wide open is actually good, because in my head I'm like, oh, this is boring to the listener, and that's good because that means that I know there's something needs to go there, because I don't really want to have just 16 bars continuing of the same exact thing, because that's going to be very it's just not going to sound interesting. It's going to sound repetitive, etc. So now that I get to this section right over here, and I'll actually put a loop on for this section. Probably shouldn't do it for that long, but I will for the start of it. Now that I'm up to this section over here, I know a couple things. I know that automatically the first the first 8 bars of this are not going to have any drums at all. I might keep a little bit of the percussion, so I'll keep that there for now. It's not going to have sub bass, I know that. And then I know that there's not going to be sound design in this section either. Pull the drums again, and then here I'm actually going to pull all the drums. And then they're going to start coming back. Definitely not going to have this there, but these are going to start coming back in. I might have a little bit of sub bass in this section, like I might bounce it to audio and chop it or something like that. Mid bass, kind of the same thing actually, and melodics I'm going to need to strip down here. Same thing here, except this is going to have some elements of the drum coming back in, and then boom, we're back at the next section over here, which is very similar to this section, and then we'll have a 16 bar out, or is it 16 or a 32 bar outro? That will be a 32 outro. Let me do this outro first, just because I kind of know what it's going to look like. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be something like that. Won't have a sub bass there. And then this will just be something like that. This basically makes it easy to mix into the next song, where for the last 16 bars you just bring back a really stripped down version of the drums with the bass line and everything like that. So whether it's yourself or somebody else who's mixing it, if they get to the outro of the song, they can see they have something that's easy to loop that doesn't have a lot of changes to it. If they need to kind of get out of the song, it can buy them some time. So here, I think the first thing that I know is, after such an extended kind of wishy-washy period in the middle here where there's not been much going on, I think I know that I'm going to want to have very stripped down melodics, if not none, right when this comes back in. So this doesn't need to be there. This doesn't need to be there. This doesn't need to be there. This actually can be there, but not this one. Okay. These definitely not. This definitely not for this part. And really, I don't even need it for that part. Keep this. Get rid of this. Okay, and then so when this comes in over here, it's not going to sound like this whole thing needs to. I need to go through this and strip it all down a lot more, but I'll do that in a second. Structurally, this section is about right. Sax is definitely not going to be there. This is definitely not going to be there. So what I'm doing here right now is I'm kind of just trying to define the difference between these two sections, because my brain was like, oh, it ends here, but it doesn't actually. This is the outro. And this is kind of the melodic outro that goes into the drums kicking back in. I think I'm going to need that. This doesn't need to be there. Actually, I need to do this because this is just not going to be here except for this. At most this. Also this, I gotta get rid of the snares here. This is not supposed to be as obvious as it would be right now. Get rid of these, get rid of these. It's okay. That can stay. Do the same thing as I did before here, just getting rid of all of these. A lot of the overall structure right now is in place. Like if we zoom out, let me just do this real quick and then I'll show you. Okay, so if we zoom out, we start to kind of see a little bit of the structure of a song. I want to finish this section right here, and then I want to start stripping down this middle section. Once I finish that, I'll be in a good place to actually start thinking about this as a song. If I do it like this, I probably need to do it like that. Okay, this, I don't think if I'm going to have all of that there that I need that. I don't think I want these here at all. I'm going to figure out something to do with these strings, but it's not going to be there. Drum break kind of thing here. Not break, but okay. Okay, so that actually sounds pretty nice with all of those coming together. But I do have this thing that I like to do where if I have all of the elements coming together like this at the end of the song, I kind of don't like it to happen maybe more than once for 8 to 16 bars, really. Maybe fading in for 16 bars earlier in the song of everything coming together. When this drops from having the drums there and then it goes into this more melodic ambient section at the end of the first like 32 bar A section. So here, I know that when this goes from this to this next section, I know that I don't want a full sound. In fact, I know I want it to be kind of empty and spacious. And so a lot of these layers that I have over here, just I know for a fact do not need to be here. I don't need a strong Rhodes here. Maybe in the second half of that. I don't need this little guitar line that I played in Omnisphere. I don't need the sax line that I played in Contact. And I think that I definitely don't need the second trumpet layer. I can keep the muted trumpet from Contact. The strings will not be here. The sign and the piano here are from the intro, and I think that they will come in, but not right away. And then here, I want, the one thing that I need is, oh well no, because the drums are still going to be there. Alright, let me go through the drums real quick, because I do want this to almost feel very choppy right when the drums and the bass and the kick and all of that drop out. So this is going to go there. Let me go through here real quick. I know this isn't going to be there at all. Okay. Okay. If those are there, these don't need to be there. Kind of simple rule. If those are there, this doesn't need to be there. Okay. I'll put some volume fades on that in a second. I think yes, actually, to that one over there. I guess I'll keep the strings right there. No. Is there? I'm not going to need that. Okay, let me see what this sounds like. The drums are going to be messy, but other than that. Yeah, I can keep that out. Here, I need to have a gain on these two. I do want it to come in a little bit earlier than that. Oops. Just this. Okay, cut, undo, add audio, move this right here, paste that, bunch of echo on this, and then drown it in some reverb real quick, and boom, you have a pad. It'll still have some leftovers from the previous sound, but it should be about right. I do want a gain on here. We have the little break here, the melodic with just the drums and the bass line over here, and then it's going to go back to a 16 bar pure melodic section, and then the drums come in for basically the rest of the song. Oh wait, I forget. No, because this right here, I need to clean this up because this isn't actually where the drums come in. Similar to what I've been doing. This can go. That definitely can go. All of this can go. This can go. That can go. That can go. This all can go. All of that can go. That can go. That can go. Okay, so the drums seem like they're okay for that section. And then this seems very, very crowded. When this is going, that's not going. Let me get rid of this. That is a very rough arrangement of a song, and so the next steps are going to be a lot of texturing and just kind of going over sections, smoothing them over. This piano that I have, let me just echo it out a bunch and put a bunch of reverb on it and turn it into something approximately near a pad. And having stuff like that in your mix allows things to smooth over a little bit, or when you're going from the end of a loop to the beginning of the next section. I'm kind of in a good place with where I am right now on this, and I don't want to kind of overdo it in each session with this song. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. Hope this has been helpful for you, and I'll see you in the next one.